women was introduced into the welding field. And when they was introduced to the welding field, they had to take who helped raise me, Mr. Fred Brown, who was from West Helena, Arkansas. He was in World War II. And my grandfather never preached to me about joining the war, getting in the war. He only preached to me about independence and about keeping God first and loving family. So his principles was very small and but very effective. And I feel like now that we're starting to rise more, we're starting to jump into the physical trades more now in this 2000 in this 2020, the 20th century, um, due to the lack of welders. Like it's a lack of welders, and then think of this too: a lot of welders. What's up, brother? A lot of welders um, that was into the field heavy. A lot of the Caucasian welders. A lot of them, honestly, the epidemic hit where the drugs was real strong with the meth and the crystal and the heroin and the pills. So it addicted them real bad. So a lot of them stopped showing up. Honestly, like if you would look certain jobs, like a lot of them stopped going to work. They was getting ill. They was saying forget it, and they'd rather stay out. So a lot of these jobs starting to open for African Americans. Like we were starting to get more opportunities to actually jump in and start making money. And now I honestly feel like now it's even better for us. You know what I mean? Because now we can actually be independent with this. Like we don't have to. Greetings, brother. We don't have to just work a job now. Now we can actually build our own self up and we can do our own thing. But I feel like now is the time because we can turn this welding trade into a business. And that's why I preach it so much. Like I say, turn a trade into a business. And it's not just a welder's trade, but any trade. You can turn any trade into a business. But with welding, it's so flexible. And it was also top secret. That's why another reason why I really like it. And I think that a lot of Caucasian welders tend to have a problem with black welders. Not all of them, but some of them do because of the fact that it was a skilled trade that only white man did, and it was just what it was. Only white man did this trade, and now welding is a essential because you got to think it was help keeping the ships and the boats together during World War II. So once they start using certain metals, they was like, man, a welder is an asset. You had to keep a welder on deck. You had to have a soldier that was a welder. They get a hole in somebody got to go put this back in. So you was very essential. And yes, welding is very essential work. And now I think that we getting to the point where we're starting to see it more and more. And our people, our young people are starting to dive into it more and they're starting to get their skills going. Like I've been seeing a lot of black brothers and sisters out of Atlanta that's been jumping, a lot of black brothers and sisters out of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Louisiana, Missouri. I'm starting to see more and more. Denver, I'm starting to see more. When I was in Arizona, I'm starting to see more come out. So all across the country in every state, you're starting to see more and more black welders pop up. But I think we have to have a little bit more confidence because we tend to be, since we was raised by white America, we tend to think like white America when we try to approach our business, but we can't do business like white America because why? We ain't white. And they're gonna most definitely let you know that once you start doing business with them. So we have to now, as we grow and we build our businesses, we have to come together now and build a team. Like we everywhere. You see what I'm saying? So we should be able to have our own independent schools, our own independent people we can reach out to get some knowledge. So there's nothing wrong with paying because we got to pay for what we want. But let's go to ours and get this education. We can build our own. You know what I mean? But if we got to start from somewhere. So I think the rise right now of African American welders is because we're starting to get it. Working in the office is okay, but we are field people. Think about it. And this is something that I embrace myself. I'm a field person. I'm a little darker, so I'm a field person. And I realized that Mississippi, yes, yes, can't leave out Mississippi. All of the above, the full South, and actually every state is starting to grow and grow more. But like I say, I'm an African American, and we was introduced to the field. That's what we would hit first. So we are field people because the sun, it does do us differently. We just got to take care of ourselves, but we could actually maintain in that sun longer. We was meant for it. You know what I mean? So we can actually do longer. It's just all about how we take care of ourselves, how we eat, how we carry ourselves. But the sun was meant for us, and so I just embraced it being an African American. Then I went to prison for 10 years, and then like they gonna put you in the field. If you can go and work in the field and you ain't got no disabilities where you really gonna get sick, your ass gonna be in the field. So you gonna be in the field chopping, and I just witnessed that even in there I prevailed. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about Joseph being sold, and Joseph got sold into slavery, and then from there he ended up going to prison. And even in prison, he got favor. And I can honestly say God has been with me for a long time, and I gained favor. So even though I was in the field, chopping, whatever, I got favor, and I ended up getting in a position in the field that actually put me in a better position. Yes, it's always good to have more skills. And I was able to get in a position where I was able to get favor, and I went from just a regular worker in the field to a trustee. So it showed me that I just had to utilize what I'm good at. And since we are field people, since they sent us over here to America to plow their fields and do their work and do their labor, let's take advantage of the field work. That's us. So let's take advantage of the field work, the contracting, the outside, the labor, the building of the infrastructure of America. Yes, it's time for us to unite with some solid trades. Like, we got it. Like, it's enough of us that have been working for the man long enough that we can work for ourselves. Like, we don't even have to work for the man no more, because we have worked long enough for him, where all of us have acquired enough knowledge where we can actually start doing this thing ourselves. But we got to come together, and we got to be willing to just throw the information out there. And I'm gonna tell you something else, that we as black men, especially our older black men, we tend to get the older ones, and even, my generation, we tend to get frustrated when we're dealing with the younger generation. Oh, they won't listen, all this and this. But I realized that we was naive too at one time. And so we have to be able to present the information different. You know what I mean? It's like my mom used to bring my stepbrother, which I haven't seen in a while. His name was Willie Jones. She used to bring my stepbrother over to the house when I was a kid, and she told me this. I didn't know it, but she told me this later. She said, "Joe, I could not get you to eat. Like, you would eat right, you would throw a fit, and I couldn't get you to do it. But if I bring Willie over, you would eat like it was a competition. If you see him eating, he eat a biscuit, you would eat one." So we have to actually come together like that sometime, to realize that, okay, maybe we got to feed this to our generation differently than we was fed. Maybe we got to do something different, but it can be done. So I feel like we have to have a different approach and not get intimidated because our younger brothers not doing what they need to do. It's going to come around, but I feel like we shouldn't get discouraged because ain't nobody listening. And because when you plant a seed, it takes time. So don't get discouraged because you just planted a big seed and then nothing happened. Did nobody beat you down? Did nobody come up to your consultation? Did nobody show up at your meeting? Don't get discouraged about that. Give the information anyway, and realize that the information that we are giving, the information is for those who are woke, those who are waking. So once they wake up, they can see this light over here. They see the light shining. Like, they see us out here doing what we're doing. So it's going to be easy for them to say, hey, this is what I need to do. Not preaching to them, but teaching them, and teaching it by example. To me, man, listen, leading by example is the best way to get your point across. You ain't got to talk about it. You ain't got to boast about it. You ain't got to brag about it. Just do it. And it's going to get hard sometimes, but you do it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And then eventually things are going to get better. So if you go back and look up my archives right now, when I first started, videos getting 2-3 views. Nobody looking at it. I'm dropping them anyway. Right now, if you go look up my videos, I think I got close to 2,000 videos or more. And it was because I was consistent. So I feel like we're going to have to be consistent with our rise, with us coming together and building us a team, and us actually doing something that lasts. Like, we can do this. You know what I mean? And that's why I moved to OKC. Like, I really want to start a headquarters here, the HogOn Welding headquarters, where I start this independent school, not a nonprofit, but an independent school, because we're not going to look for handouts. You know what I mean? If the government want to help us with us training and teaching the generation, that's fine. But we're going to set up our own programs. where you can be, if you ain't got the money, it's fine. You can do on the job training and still get the certification and the skills that you need without having to go in debt. Might be able to finish, graduate with money in your pocket, like you working and learning. So when you leave, you got a band. You started with no money, now you got some money. You say, hey, I'm gonna get my first what? I want to do this. Hey, I want to still mess with y'all until I get on my feet. See, my goal isn't to keep a person as an employee to hold them down. Oh, I want you forever. Nah, I want a team member. As you grow and you ready for your independence, you got the forms, construction, development, well, we can actually start eating, man, and start rising, because it's our time. You know, through our history, they've been using us, and now it's our time to use that information to build us, because we are field people. All of the people that came off that boat, majority of them went straight to the field. A couple of them went to the house. Only a couple of them was house. You know, we're going to use this old term, house niggas, field niggas. Majority of us was field people. Few house people that got to do this and that. So let's just take advantage of it. Use this field stuff for what it is to become the house nigga. We're going to use the field work to do the housework. But you got to start somewhere, man. Like, it's very valuable that you start somewhere and stop complaining like that you can't do it, because it can be done. You just got to believe in yourself. That's the main thing, man. That's the main thing. We have to stop taking no for answers. Stop leaning on mama's titty is what I like to call it. Leaning on whoever's take care of. You know, we tend to say, oh man, so-and-so take care of me. So, hey man, it's time to grow up. We gonna have to be a little stronger. Your skin gonna have to be a little bit more tougher. You see what I'm saying? Than getting your feelings hurt all the time. Because when we out here, we know what they doing. We know it's racism. We know it's hatred. We know it's people dying. We know it's bigotry. We understand this. That's fine. But there's no reason to get bitter. We got to get better. And we're going to get better by using the skills they've been the skills that they've been paying us for. Because think about it. They will pay you to do their jobs. So why we won't learn it? So that way we can build our own team and our own people to do their jobs. We can still work. See, the game is to work with them and not for them. You see what I'm saying? When you're working for them, they tend to tell you, well, you need to do this, and you got to do this, and you had, you know, the days of something going on, you got to tell them, oh man, I can't even miss work because this going on because I got to do this. The folks going to talk bad to me, man. So I just want to say this, man, real quick. We are rising as Black African-American welders. We are rising as the Black people. The proof is in the pudding. It's a little humid out here today, so I'm sweating a little bit. The proof is in the pudding, man. We are rising. Look at what's going on right now. You got people marching in every state. 50 states saying Black Lives Matter. A couple people at least. So it's time, man. We got their attention. Now it's time for us to start putting our finances, our money together and building our own team. It ain't about racism. It's about us uniting actually and building something that's going to last, because we're rising. It's in us. It's been in us. And if you look through the archives right now, we got more welders, we got more plumbers, we got more carpenters, we got more engineers, we got more house designers coming into the market. Physical trades. We just gonna have to just utilize. We are physical people, and that's why we was able to be so strong and able to fight off so many diseases and things, because we physical. We got to stop being lazy. To me, I think we have took in the Caucasian way of living in America for so long that it made us lazy, and it caused us to have different diseases. And everybody know about some of the things that we face as African Americans: high blood pressure, sugar, diabetes, all these things that we got that runs through our system. And you wonder, like, how did it start? This stuff was set up for generations. So we started off 3, 4, 5 generations behind. But it's cool now. Now that we know better, we do better. You know, we start realizing that, okay, what should I eat for my body? That's going to help my body be better, because there's certain foods we can eat as African Americans that's going to help us be better. That's what it is, man. Just do a little research. It might not taste as good as this, but you're going to live better. You're going to feel better. You ain't going to be as down and draggy as you was. So we just got to work together to improve one another, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. That's how we're going to break things in America. And we are most definitely rising. HogOn.